Right, good morning, people of YouTubes. We're going to carry on with the Metro again today. Try and get this seat in place and get all the bars welded in so we can at least have somewhere to sit and we can move it around the yard. Because at the minute I've got all the steering column off, all the steering wheel off, seats are out and all that sort of stuff. So let's try and make it a little bit more mobile now. I've made a little bit of a start. So I'll go through that in a minute. But yeah, basically, we're just going to get this seat mounted in the car and done properly. Right, so the bits that I've got, they're all second hand. They're not new, apart from the mounting kit I had to buy new. But the seat and the harness are all second hand, come up my old XR3i race car, because they're all out of date and they need to be in date. So I've got here a Sparco Evo seat. Not in the greatest condition. That's missing the plastic bits that go in there for the belt guides. But that don't really make no difference at the minute. And it's a little bit mouldy and tatty because it's been sat around inside the car for a number of months now. And I've just, if I flip it over, started to mount all the side runners and the rails. I'm going to put it on slider rails just for ease of adjustment if we need to adjust it, or if someone else wants to drive it. That's easier to adjust, isn't it? So I've mounted the actual seats itself on the middle hole, because I've put the seat on the floor of the Metro and that was like really low, so I think we can afford to bring it up a little bit. Obviously we've got the width of the rails as well, and there are some little, I think 10mm spacers that needs to go underneath them rails to make them work. But that's all in, that's all set up. The distance between these are critical, they need to be even. So I've done all that and they're all locked down and ready to go. Now I've made a start on removing the sound deadening, as I said I would in the last video. I've used the duster cans and it literally took me less than 10 minutes to get this whole patch out. So it's not bad at all. I'll show you a little bit of that maybe in the front of there in a second. But the seat rail kit that I've gone for is a Lifeline kit. I've roughly cut it down so we can get the rails down where they need to be on the floor, and then we can get the seat on there and then we can adjust where they need to go. But I've gotten an initial measurement. Again, they have to be 280mm apart because that's where the holes on the sliders are. So again, you need to make sure that's quite critical. Again, they are just rough cut because we've still got plates to weld onto the body and plates that weld onto the actual bars itself, because they can be removable. And in the last video I think I said I was just going to weld them straight to the body, but I think I am just going to do the whole kit as intended. Right, the next thing I've come across is obviously the belt eyes. This one picks up in the original seatbelt anchorings absolutely fine, and then this one over here picks up in the seatbelt anchoring itself. So we're going to need to move this over to about here to match this other one. Again, I've got a plate, that spreader plate that goes in the back of there, so we can drill a hole and fit that spreader plate, so that's then level with this other one here. I have got 6-point harnesses, so we are going to have to put another 2 eyes here, or probably attach it to this rear bar. I'm not too sure how they're mounted in the Escort is that was attached to the rear bar, because I don't think I've got any more clips to clip onto eyelets, so I've only got the 4 clips yeah, for the harness, and obviously we'll wrap it around the back of this harness bar, well, so-called harness bar anyway. So yeah, I'll just show you the rest of this kit for the Lifeline seat mount kit, and then yeah, we'll continue on the work. So this is the harness I got, TRS harness. It's out of date, but as you can see, the crotch belts, they were just looped over on the bar. Then obviously we got these clips here, which clips onto the eyelet. So we might be able to rob the ones for the back belts, because we'll be wrapping them around the harness bar and then putting them onto here. But they are quite wide. They're 3-inch wide belts, these are, and these bits here are only 2-inch wide. So right, let's move on to the rest of the. So we've got these plates here, which goes onto the actual body itself and get welded in. And then we've got these bars here, which goes onto the bars, and then they basically sandwich up into there and then get bolted through. And then we've got these bits here, which you have to drill a hole in the center of the box section, and they sit in there, and you actually weld in around the top there and around the bottom as well. So you drill all the way through, plonk these in, and then weld them up. I think you drill the top so far, and then you drill the bottom one not so far, because that step there then seats it into the box section, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got a step in there, so that then sits into the box section, makes it flush, and then you weld round that chamfer there. Right, let's get into the car and I'll show you how these compressed gas duster things remove sound deadening. Right, so these duster can things are like compressed gas, just an air duster basically. So I put the little straw on, and if you have it upright, that's just air. But if you turn it upside down, you then get like really cold air, and all you do and spray it on. You can hear the sound deadening coming away from the metal, and sometimes you give it a little tap and it comes off. If not, I've got this like flat panel chisel that you get in there, and it just chips away basically. So it's not really got the right angle here because you're sort of in the way, but you can see it's all starting to chip away now. And a good tip is to do this in the winter, when it's like 2 degrees outside, because the panels are already cold and it holds the coldness a lot better after you sprayed this. You can hear it fizzing and starting to crack away at the actual sound deadening itself. So yeah, that is pretty much how to remove sound deadening. This rear panel, that came off in quite big sheets, where this one here is just coming off in little chunks, but it's a lot better than using heat and scraping it off. Is a lot easier as well, in all honesty. So I'm just going to get on to the rest of this front floor pan, and then we go over all this residue with just a little bit of thinners on a rag, and that wipes out quite nicely. So I went for a whole can of this on this rear section, so I'm going to go for a whole can on the front section here. So I'm going to say, to do a car like this, you're looking at around 6 to 8 cans that you need. I can't remember how much I paid for them. I think I got a box of 6 cans for about 40 quid. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's roughly how much it is. So I'm just going to finish off getting all this out the way, and then I'm going to get on and removing the seat mounts, the old seat mounts, because they're in the way at the minute. So bear with me, get this done, and then we'll move on to removing some seat mounts. Right, so that's all off. I've run out of duster cans. 2 of them cans done. That floor, and a little bit of the tunnel there. So yeah, you probably want another 2 to do that side, and then probably another 2 or 3 to do the back there. So I'll bring some more cans back from home, and finish doing that off at a later date. The main goal really is to get this seat in, and I'm spending more and more time removing sound deadening. But at the minute I've got it soaking in some tar and glue remover. I've got some thinners, but the tar and glue remover seems to be doing a better job than the thinners at the minute. So I've just sprayed that on. I'll leave that sit for a couple of minutes. I'll wipe it off, and then I'll probably have to do it again to get the rest of it off. But once we've done that, we need to remove this box section here, and there's one here as well. As you see, there's a couple of little spot welds on there, so I'm just going to get in there, drill out them spot welds and remove them, and then we can then start getting the seat in, getting that mounted up, get it in position. I might throw the steering column on with the steering wheel as well, just to be 100% certain that I'm in the right place, at the right height than anything else, because I've got forward and backward runners, and I've set it in the middle for initial setup, so that'll go back and that'll go forward a little bit more as well. So yeah, let me finish this off. I'm going to get these spot welds removed and get these boxes removed so we can get the seat in, and then we'll have a play around with getting the seat in position. Right, we've got our seat in position in now. We've just chucked the column on with the steering wheel. So this is the steering wheel I'm going to use. It's a code one, leather with white stitching I've gone for, so you'll get an idea of the collar combination of the car when the roll cage turns up as well. So we're going to go for a white, red and white theme with gold accents, shall we say. So we've got gold on the Evo seat. There's a few other bits of pieces that have been painted gold by the previous owner. Stickers got gold on it, although the sticker's going to be removed, but the big Metro one on the rear window is gold. So yeah, anyway, so this is the seating position that we've gone for. I've marked in where the runners are going to go, so I just got to mark where the seat is going to go, and then we'll get it all off, and yeah, we'll get it all off and get it marked properly, and then get it all sat in the car again just to make sure everything is right where the marks are, and then we'll go about cutting and gluing, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to remove the steering column and steering wheel again, just for access, ease for access of getting things in and out, but I wanted just to get that in there so I've got the right seating position. That's low enough for me, that's far enough back for me, as I've still got room to go back, and I've got room to go forward just in case anyone shorter wants to have a go in it. The only thing I'm going to have to do is probably remove this cross brace here, because you won't be able to go any more forward because of the forward and back lever thing is in the way, goes right in the way of that. So if you pull it up and want to go forward, you won't get very far. So I might have to cut that out. Obviously got the other seat mounts out of the way. We've had a bit of a casualty. They were spot welded and really good. Like, there was 3 spot welds in, like, right next to each other. So trying to drill out all 3 spot welds. I did use an 8mm spot weld drill. But again, it's not very long, so trying to get in there straight, you can see us, you know, the chuck is fouling the bit of metal. So I've done what I could, and then in the end I just chiseled it out with a panel chisel because I got fed up. So we might have to do a little bit of repair there. That's not structural, but we'll repair it anyway. And this bit here, again, I managed to get some of the spot welds off. Some of them are drilled all the way through, but you can see, well, I used a panel chisel and gone through the panel. So again, when we do all the welding, we'll just tidy them up, get all them holes filled, ground back. Probably need to put a plate in this bit here, which ain't no biggie. So yeah, let's get all this back out again. After I've measured it all up, and see where we go from there. Really, it's just a case of, there isn't really a plan. It's just a case of you have to keep taking it in and out until you're happy with it. So, and obviously I've got all that sound deadening off as well. So there's still some stubborn bits of tar on there. I think it's bitumen based sound deadening, so still a couple of bits of bitumen on there. I couldn't wait no longer. We'll have to soak it another day, but I need to get this seat in just so that it's in and I'm happy with it. Right, anyway, enough waffling. Let's crack on, get it all back out again and go from there. Right, we'll start with this front bar first, and then we'll take reference from that for the second bar. So I've got this little box level, as you can see, it's lovely and even. I'll use some penny washers just to space it up. We've got our plates in either side. So I had to drill holes in for clearance for the captive nuts, so I just used a step drill. Yeah, so I've taken zeroed the box level with the dash rail just up here, and then I marked up against sorry, that bit there, and that's exactly the same. So we've now got it all nice and level. Oh, it's just come out level, just because I'm jolting the car around. Look, there we go. Yeah, so we'll mark up everywhere, I guess, where them plates are. We'll clean some paint off it, and then we'll get the old hot glue gun out and get it tacked in place, I guess. And then once it's all tacked in place, we can then fully weld the bar onto the end plates, and then fully weld the body plate onto the body. So right, let's count how many washers I've got either side, just so that I've got it all numbered up. As you can see, I've got my centre line there, and I've got exactly the same on here as well. So, and the other thing you need to do, obviously, you need to make sure it's level that way as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's mark it up, let's clean some paint off, we'll get the hot glue gun out, and then we'll see what we can come up with today. Right, there we go, that's the first bar in. So now I've got a reference to go through, or go from, to mount the second bar now. So didn't come out too bad. It's nice little welds around the body. There's a couple of dodgy welds around the bar. I say dodgy, just where I've double welded it, so it's quite thick. Same on this side as well. So yeah, we had a little bit of a blow through here on the body, so just had to blob that in. But yeah, once it's all painted, that shouldn't look too bad. I've got the inserts in as well. They're all welded in at the bottom as well. So you drill a 13mm hole here, and then at the bottom you drill a 16mm hole, and then you push them through, weld in the bottom, and then it says you should weld the top here, but how these are designed is just they've got like a shoulder on them, and I don't really want the weld on the top of there, just in case I catch the threads, shall we say. So we'll see about that. That's a nice tight fit. I had to press that into that bar with a vice, so it's a nice tight fit, and as I say, it's got a shoulder underneath that bit there, so you know that will act as a secondary device, and then obviously there's welded at the bottom as well. So yeah, right, we're gonna carry on and get the other one mounted, get that all in position. The clouds are rolling over, we've lost the sun, and it is due to rain this afternoon. What's the time now? Time is 4 o'clock, and yeah, I've only got an hour left here before I've got to be home. So we better crack on. We might not get it all done today, but we will have a good attempt. Now this first one is in and it's got a reference point, it then makes the second one a lot easier, so hopefully that'll go a lot quicker. Right, that's that one all welded in now. So it went pretty well. At the floor here we had a couple of little holes where the floor was a little bit thin, so I run quite a thick wire. I've run a 0.8 or 0.9, I think it is. I think it's 0.9, so I have to have the amps quite high, which is ideal for this sort of work, but it's not ideal for body work, if you know what I mean. I should ideally have 0.6 wire, but yeah, no, that's all in now. Just marking up where I need to drill the holes to put the center bolts through, or the captive bolts through. So yeah, we'll get that done. I'm hoping that I can get that done, get these dressed and get them primed, and then maybe chuck some paint on the old bars, so tomorrow I can come in and get that all bolted into position. That'll all be nice and painted. Alright, so I'm just sorting out the holes for this. You can see the step on that, what I was telling you about. So you drill your 13mm hole, which is the inside diameter of that piece there, and that just goes straight in there. That's a 13 on the top side, this is the bottom side, and you feed it in from the bottom, and then we'll just give that a little tap. We'll press that in with the vise, and then we can weld around these top bits here and grind them all flat. So let me press these in with the vise, and then we'll get to welding and dressing it up so it looks nice, and then hopefully we can get all this back in the car, get the seat mounted for a trial fit before painting. Right, that's that all welded up at the bottoms there, and then look at the top, and they're nice and flush. Now there's a little bit of burr in there, so we'll just clean that up with the old whizzy tool here. So that's all lovely. So we'll just grind all these flat nicely. And I've just given all these a coat with some weld through etch primer. Is it etch primer? No, just zinc rich primer. So yeah, as I say, I've still got these to repair yet, so I'll probably do that tomorrow before we paint. I haven't got any red paint. I would like to paint all this in factory paint, but unfortunately I haven't got any paint, and I think it looked like we'll be painting the entire inside of the car anyway at some point, just to get rid of all the black. And once we're finished with all the welding on the inside here, yeah, we'll probably give it a lick of paint anyway. So right, let me grind these flat. We'll get everything bolted back in again, and then we'll try to fit the seat. Right, that's the seat all now mounted in. So we'll try it out, shall we? Oh yeah, awesome. And then hopefully I can, yeah, I can move it backwards and forwards a little bit. Quite far back actually. I can barely press the clutch down. It's that far back. And then can't go all the way forward because of that, but I've got the spacers on in between the frame and the runners, so it can glide a lot better. Whatever, 10mm I think they are, but yeah, no, that's lovely. That is perfect. Awesome. Right, I'm gonna go home because I need to go and get some garlic bread. For dinner tonight. So I'm going to pick this up in the morning, where we'll take it all apart and we'll get all these bars all nicely painted up in some spray hammerite satin like I've done on the MGF. And do I sort that bit out? No, I think I'll sort that bit out when I do the cage, because that'll pull the seat back out anyway for when I do the cage. So we'll sort these bits of mess up when I do the cage, but that's all been zinc primed, so it's not going to go rusty in the meantime. So yeah, we'll get these bars off in the morning, we'll get them painted, and once they're painted, that'll allow me to do other bits and pieces around the workshop, and then we'll fit them last thing at night when they're all nice and dry. Yeah, and that'll be done really. Oh, I need to put the harnesses in, don't I? I need to sort the harnesses out, so I need to put another eye back there to match that eye. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the harness bar yet, or whether I use put the crotch belt onto the rear frame, or the rear bar I should say. So yeah, we'll sort that out tomorrow anyway, so I will see you in the morning.
The next day.
Right, good morning. I'm going to carry on with this now today. I've already made a start. As you can see, I've removed all the seat rails and all that sort of stuff, and I've taken them out and I've painted the seat rails so they're now drying. Just using some hammerite smooth spray paint and a satin black, because I think satin looks a lot better than the gloss. Just personal preference, that's all. What else have I done? I've cleaned the rest of the old sound deadening up, so you'll probably see there's still one or two little spots kicking around. Just kicked it with a wire wheel, just to, yeah, get rid of most of them anyway. And I've gone over the whole car, well, say the whole car, this whole floor plan, and a little 2-inch DA. Got a little air DA here. I think it's like a 240 or 320 grit sandpaper on it, just to try and scuff up the floor, because I took a trip to Halfords this morning and I got myself some Nightfire Red and try and put some colour in this car. Now this Nightfire red I think is a COQ, which is the pearlescent one, and my car is a CAQ, which is a metallic one. But as I say, I think we're going to end up painting this whole interior anyway once we've got everything sorted that we need to sort out in here. So all the cut and the weld and all that sort of stuff. Once that is all done, I think we're going to paint it. I have got a litre of the right colour paint. So yeah, but we won't do that until we've finished everything in here, and then we'll take everything back down as far as we can go, and yeah, start off properly really. I've still got a load of this old black stuff here. I think it's still flaking off there. I think that's brushed on Hammerite Smooth. So I've tried to scuff it up as much as I can to try and blend it in, but you will be able to see where that's been painted black. Again, we'll address all that when we go to paint the interior. I've cut out this bar here, so we've got some room for the handle, the forward and back adjustment handle, as we're not catching our hands on that. I'm just debating whether to cut this bit off and then box this section in here, because we're going to be running the standard passenger seat, so I might cut this bit off, box that section in, and unpick all the spot welds from the floor and take that whole section out. Again, I think I'll come to that when we go to have a look under here and see what that mess is. But yeah, it's just a plate, and I think they've used some kind of silicone sealant on that to seam seal. I don't think that's Tiger Seal because it's too soft, if you know what I mean. Tiger Seal, like, although it's a flexible sealant, it's still quite hard, but this is soft like silicone, so I'm not really too sure what that is. And also, I wasn't happy leaving these bits in. I was going to do all that today, thinking about it overnight, but I've just gone into the workshop and checked the gas situation on your welder, and there's no gas. So I was very lucky, although I've got pressure in there, I've got very limited gas, so we were very lucky to get done what we got done today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the old aerosol can and make a start in dusting that in. It's not going to be pretty, don't get me wrong, again, because we're going to be sorting that out later on in the day, but we'll just chuck some masking tape on the gear lever boot. I've just put a little bag over the handbrake mechanism. Yeah, and I think I'll just take the steering wheel off just so that it doesn't get covered in paint, because that's the new one. But yeah, just going to whack it with some paint. Right, as you can see, I've laid the first coat down, and that is a whole can. So I've done one coat, and I've started all the way from the front and started coming back again, and got halfway with the second coat, and as you see, it's still a patchy coat, and that was a whole can. So they only had that one can in stock, thinking that'd be enough. So I broke out the paint gun with the paint that I had, the proper colour. So I'm now going to attempt to paint. Now, I've never painted with a paint gun before, so this will be interesting to see how it turns up. So I've got a bit of paper attached to something, and we're going to make some spray hits and get the fan pattern right and all that sort of stuff, and go from there. Right, there we go, that's the first coat of proper paint using the gun. It's not too bad, a little bit peely. But it's just about getting used to it really. As I said, I've never painted with a gun before, it's always been out of a can. So I'm just going to fill up that little canister again. It's only a small gun, just for like spot repairs and stuff like that. I just thought I'd give it a go, you know. So I'm just going to fill up the gun again for a second coat, and then we'll get that spread on. Probably go for a bit more of a heavier coat, because this one's quite dry, as you can see. We'll go for a second heavier coat and yeah, let it dry out, I guess. There we go. That is the last and final coat on. In person it looks actually quite good. I'm not too sure how it's coming across on the camera because the sun is beaming down inside the car, which is going to help, you know, dry it out and everything. But the metallic in it is really poppy. I don't know if you can see that at all. But yeah, I'm still needing to work on the gun settings because, as you can see, it's a little bit orange peely. But it's better to practice on the inside of the car where it don't really matter, and before attempting something on the outside of the car, because I've actually bought some glass fibre bonnet and boot lid, so I'll need to paint that at some point. I thought, why not give it a go? You know, we're trying to make this a little bit of a budget build, without, you know, going too silly in a sense. But yeah, that's come up alright. I hit the old clutch pedal with a bit of paint accidentally, so I'll clean that off with a little bit of thinners. And the only other thing that I see is a little bit of reaction down there to the paint that was underneath, so I'm going to guess that's going to all flake and peel off at some point. But yeah, I mean, I sanded it down with the old DA, and then obviously gave it a coat of primer to stop anything like that happening. But yeah, you can see in there that that's happening there, but it isn't happening on this side, which is a bit bizarre. But you know, I'm not going to say it again, but you know, we're going to be taking all this out again at some point and painting the inside of here properly. So yeah, it's going to get done properly. This is just a temporary fix for now, just to make it look half decent. So yeah, we'll let this dry. You can see it start to dry up a bit now. I'm not going to lacquer it or anything because they didn't lacquer it from the factory. So yeah, we're just going to let this dry out, probably overnight now, to be honest with you. Yeah, and then in the morning we'll probably stick the seat in, but we'll see how we get on. You know, I might see, what is the time? About lunchtime, so give it a few hours. It might be hard enough to put the braces in, but I have painted the braces in satin hammerite, so that might need a little bit longer to dry. So we might pick this up in the morning, but you can see the difference of this side, and then you look over to there, look. Ooh, buddy. So yeah, the goal is to make all of that look the same as that. A little bit breezy today, so hopefully we won't get too much dirt blow in there. But again, who cares? It's just a case of making it look a bit tidier. Anyway, I'm rambling on a bit now, so I think I'm going to I don't even know what I'm going to do next, to be honest with you. Oh, the other thing that I've done is I drilled the hole in there for the eye, and you poke an eye through the hole, and then you've got this plate that goes onto the back. So yeah, we'll have to do that when it all dries up. Yeah, so again, I'm just rambling on. I'm trying to find something to say, but I can't really find anything to say. So I don't know what we're going to do next, but I will pick it up in a few moments. Right, the floor is now dry. My bars are now dry. So we'll get to getting it all back in again. I've wet back the seat, so it's just sitting in front of the heater. That's made it a little bit better, but quite an old seat, so I'm not expecting miracles. But another thing I've done is I've got this eye in for the harness, and you can see the hole to the right of it. That's where I wanted to put it, so that's level with this one. But unfortunately there's a big bracket that goes up over that tunnel, so like on the inside of this tunnel up and over, and it's got the exhaust hanger on it as well, so that clashed with that, with the plate that you have to put at the back. So I've just had to budge it over a little bit. You know, it is what it is. It's not level, but it's in the right place. So we'll just have to adjust the belts to fit that, but I'll show you underneath that plate if I can. But yeah, that's the spreader plate that goes on to hold that eye in place. Right, so I'll probably set you up actually, and we'll do a little bit of a time lapse of fitting all the bars and the seat back in. Right, there we go, guys and girls. I'm just gonna get inside this a little bit because it's a little bit breezy outside, but the seat is all in, all bolted in place. The harnesses are all in. I'm not going to sit in the seat and set the harnesses up properly yet because the seat is still a little bit damp. You can just see how badly the material has come away from the foam backing, so it's a little bit rippled. When I've done it, and putting water on it didn't really help. When I say water, I used a little wet vac thing, little shizzle and a bizzle. I've ordered some of these inserts in here, so they should be here pretty soonish. It says it's for Sparco Evo. Whether it's the new Evo or the old Evo, I don't know, but I've ordered some anyway. I think they're like 13 quid, so yeah, we'll try them anyway and see if they fit or not. But yeah, no, it all went pretty well, to be honest with you. I'm happy with the floor, apart from the little reaction down there with just the paint underneath. But yeah, no, as I say, all the harnesses in. The only other thing I did was I fitted the passenger side seat belt stalk, so that's all ready for the passenger seat. I'm not going to fit that as yet, but it's just literally 4 bolts. I've got another seat belt because, as you can see, it's covered in paint. So yeah, I've got another seat belt, and I've got the little rail thing that attaches to the floor, and we've got the original bolts from the seat that we previously pulled out. So that should be nice and straightforward, so I'll just get on and do that at some point. But again, I want to get all this sound deadening off before we do anything else. And then I might even give this side a bit of a paint, make it look a bit nicer. But yeah, anyway, that's going to be sometime in the future. I'll just get it off and do that off camera, because again, you've seen me do all this sort of stuff, so not a problem at all. I've started to do some of the wiring in the back of the dash. I've stripped out all the wires that I don't need, and there was 12 wires that were just twisted together with a little bit of tape, and not all 12 had tape on it either, so that's a little bit concerning. But I've pulled all that out anyway, and that's all now back in the back of the new dash. I swapped all the bits over there, so that's all ready to go back in. I've ordered a new Speedo binnacle purely for the glass, so once I've got that, then we can fit the dash back in. I've got a few wires down here that I need to source places for. Some of them I don't even know what to do, but yeah, you can see like there. That's just an example. So we need to sort that out. And I've done all the other sides of these, which attaches to the dash. And we've got this loose earth, whatever that goes into the firewall somewhere, so it's in the engine bay. We'll have to have a look at that. What else have we got? I've got these two here. I think these are speaker wires, so we can just cut them out. And I've got this one here, which is a purple and white, which I think could be like an interior light type thing. It's quite long, so that might go up to this roof light maybe. But I can see there is a bit of wire in there, so we'll have to trace that back. And then all this speaker stuff and the stereo stuff we're going to cut out, and we should have an earth. I think a green one's ignition and a live somewhere. So yeah, we'll sort that out, and that can just power up all the gauges, like the boost gauge and the wideband and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be pretty basic, so should be no issues. That's for the 5AS, which I don't run anymore because it's on MEMS 3, which has been unlocked. So yeah, we just have to go through all this wiring and get all that into place. And the other thing that I need to do is obviously sort out the battery location, which I think I'm going to stick in the boot somewhere. I think I'm going to stick it in that spare wheel well. And obviously we've got this relay to sort out as well. Now I have ordered a small Chinese relay box, and that's turned up. It looks okay, so we're going to fit that next to the battery, and that's going to power things like the fuel pump. And we've got a charge cooler ice box to go into there as well. So we'll bring the relay for the water pump up this end as well, and that can be triggered by that as well, so that's going to be all in one area. So yeah, obviously we've got our battery ground which we can reuse, which goes all the way over. Oh bloody hell, that's a big gust of wind. Yeah, so that goes all the way over to that white connector over there, all the way down there and onto the battery. I don't know why just didn't use that seatbelt angle point, you know, just clean it up and use that, but got a great old bit of wire that goes all the way through above the wheel arch and down that way. Anyway, so I think that's going to do it for this episode. We've done what we need to do for the seat thing. I'm not going to sit in it and set up the harnesses properly yet, because obviously the seat's still damp and all wet arse. So I'm literally going to sort the dash out, get that back in place, get the steering wheel on off camera, and then in the next episode for the Metro we're going to sort out all the wiring to a point where it's safe and I'm happy with it. Change a few things, and we might even get the ECU from the outside and get it inside. Hang on, I'll show you that quickly. So yeah, hopefully we can get that inside and then get all that plated up as well. So I think that's going to be next episode on that. Right, so for now, on this lovely windy day, on a cooler day, and we'll see you in the next video.